Hello, my lovely little gemstones, it's Saphira, and welcome back to Fluffuary, a month-long event dedicated to Sanderside ships of all kinds. This is Day 4, Moxiety. The title of the fic is Love is Blind. In the summary, Virgil is set up on a blind date by his friends Roman and Logan, much to his dismay. I can't believe you talked me into this. Don't talk, you're gonna mess up your lipstick, Roman scolded, holding Virgil's chin tightly to keep him from shifting anymore. There, done! My greatest masterpiece. I can't believe it took an entire tube of concealer to cover up your eye bags. You need to sleep more. Virgil rolled his eyes, taking the hand mirror that Roman offered him. Yeah, well, tell my insomnia that. He huffed, hearing the bedroom door open behind him as he took in Roman's handiwork. Do you like it? You look great, Virg. He's gonna be head over heels the moment he sets eyes on you. It'll be love at first sight, Roman squealed, clapping his hands in excitement. Virgil grimaced. Let's not go that far. Roman pouted, turning to his boyfriend, who was standing in the doorway with an amused grin. Come on, Lo. Help me out. Doesn't he look great? Logan pushed his glasses up. He looks done up. I will say that. You certainly had fun, didn't you? Yeah, he did. Roman stuck his tongue out at them both. I'm an artiste. When I see a beautiful canvas, I have to use it. Virgil ignored the bickering that his friends devolved into, studying himself intently in the mirror. Beautiful canvas? Yeah, right. Sure, he wasn't ugly, but he wasn't exactly a model either. He had acne scars on his nose and chin from all the picking he did at his acne. He had prominent eye bags from stress and lack of sleep that Roman had only barely managed to cover, and even all of Roman's hair products couldn't completely tame his thick, wild hair. The more he stared at himself, the more anxious he got about the night ahead. How had he ever let Roman talk him into going on a blind date with some guy in Logan's class? Virgil could barely make small talk with the chatty clerk at a retail store. How was he supposed to go on a date? And he hadn't even given Virgil the solace of going to a movie with him, which would have at least alleviated the pressure of talking to his date. I can't do this, Virgil muttered to himself, feeling a lump start to form in his throat and tears in his eyes. Roman's head immediately snapped to him, and he grabbed the tissue box from his vanity and shoved it into Virgil's hand. Nope, no crying. You're gonna ruin your beautiful face, Roman insisted, standing so close to the chair Virgil was hunched in that his knees brushed Virgil's. Roman tilted his friend's chin up, meeting his eyes. Virgil, listen. You know that I love and care about you in the most platonic way possible, and I would never even suggest anything if I didn't think that it would be the best thing in the world for you, right? Virgil sniffed and nodded slowly, not trusting himself to speak. He felt another hand on his shoulder from behind and leaned back into Logan's touch. And you know that I ran this idea by Logan like 10 times before I brought it up to you, and he agreed that this guy is totally your type and you're going to have the time of your life. Yeah. And that I get to be the best man at your wedding when you two fall in love and get married in Hawaii. Logan cleared his throat and glared at Roman, but Virgil snickered, dabbing at a stray tear on the inside of his eye. Yeah, sure. Maybe I'll even let you pick out my dress. Roman laughed, and he gave Virgil a peck on the forehead before checking his phone. We should probably get going. Remember, Virg, Logan and I are going to be walking around the fair, too. If you need a break or need to go home, or whatever, you just text one of us, okay? We'll check in occasionally, too. Patton is a wonderful person, but your comfort comes first, Logan added. Virgil cleared his throat, nearly crying again from his friend's kind words. You're sure I can't just stay home instead? He asked them with a grin, only half joking. All he got as a response was a laugh and a hand pulling him from the chair. The fair was a local event in a town about half an hour from Roman's apartment, and the drive over did nothing to soothe Virgil's nerves. By the time they were pulling into the parking lot, he was panicking again. Roman noticed it as soon as he stepped out of the car, and he immediately wrapped his friend up in a hug. Oh, Virg. I'm sorry. I don't know if I can do this. Roman rubbed Virgil's back to calm him. What if Logan and me walk with you guys while you talk? If you don't like him, I'll pretend I'm having a heart attack, and we'll get out of there. Sound good? Do you even know what it's like to have a heart attack? Virgil joked back, stepping out of the embrace. Roman put a hand over his chest, gasping. How dare you doubt my acting skills? Logan cleared his throat, holding up his phone. Patton's waiting by the entrance. Are we ready to go in? Roman met Virgil's eyes, and the latter nodded. Virgil got one last hug, and Roman grabbed his hand and squeezed it as they walked up to the banner that hung over the entrance to the park where the fair was set up. Standing off to the side, there was a young man about the same age as Virgil. He was wearing a bright blue skirt with suspenders over a poofy white shirt. He had knee-high socks that were designed to look like cats at the top, and wide-rimmed glasses framing his eyes. When he glanced up from his phone, Virgil could see that there were freckles scattered across his cheeks. The man's eyes lit up as he saw the three approaching, and he ran up to Logan and practically threw himself at the other in a huge hug. "Logan, it's so good to see you!" Logan cracked a rare smile as he hugged him back with one arm. "Evening, Patton. How are you doing?" "Great! It's such a nice night, don't you think? And this park is beautiful. This little festival is the cutest thing." Patton detached himself from Logan and looked over to Roman and Virgil, the latter of which had his eyes fixed tightly on Patton's every move. He was sure his cheeks were turning red, and hoped the fading light of the sunset would hide it. Patton held out his hand to Virgil, smiling brightly. "Hi, you must be Virgil, right? I've heard so much about you." Virgil coughed, shaking his hand quickly while trying to force a smile. Oh, really?" "Yep, don't worry, all good things. I'm Patton, but you probably already knew that." Roman nudged him when Virgil failed to respond. Yeah, they told me about you. Date. I mean, Patton's smile just grew bigger as Virgil stammered, which only made his blush worse. God damn it, he was an idiot. But this guy was so cute, his brain refused to work. "Well then, are you guys hungry? I'm friends with one of the vendors. They have the most amazing fried rice," Patton suggested, waving towards the entrance. The other three nodded, and they followed the excited young man inside, with Roman taking his boyfriend's hand and pressing against his side. "Did you see that? I think that's the reddest I've ever seen Virgil's face." Roman stage whispered once Virgil was out of range, watching his friend stammer and stutter as Patton got closer to him. "I don't believe we're going to be seeing them much tonight." Roman nodded, turning to give Logan a quick peck on the cheek. "Good. You've been so busy. I finally get you to myself." After they all ate, Patton suggested going over to the games that were set up, and Virgil agreed just a little too quickly. Roman snickered as Patton led him away, and Virgil's face burned. But he couldn't be tongue-tied for long. His date began to ask him questions, simple ones that weren't invasive but still fun to talk about. His favorite animal and color, what movies he'd seen recently, etc. It was easy to talk to him, Virgil realized. He didn't seem to mind when Virgil took a while to respond, or trailed off in the middle of his sentence, or when he didn't have an interesting answer to his questions. Eventually he managed to turn the conversation over to Patton talking about himself instead, and that became a whole lot easier over the night. It was hours later when Virgil started to yawn, and Patton looked like he was getting sleepy as well. Patton asked if he was ready to go home, and Virgil nodded, ready to pull out his phone and text Roman to see where they were. "I can drive you, if you want," Patton offered, and Virgil shook his head. No, it's okay. It's like half an hour away, and you live right around here, don't you?" Patton shrugged. "Yeah, but that's okay. I'd like to keep spending time with you, if you're not sick of me yet." He laughed, and Virgil's heart skipped a beat. If you're sure it's not too much, I'd like that a lot too." That smile again. It made his heart soar, that adorable smile. Patton offered his hand to Virgil while smiling that beautiful smile. "Then let's go." He hesitated for only a moment before taking his hand, and Patton intertwined their fingers together. Virgil tugged his phone out of his pocket with his other hand and shot off a quick message to Roman that he was getting a ride from Patton. After receiving a short but surprised message, he put his phone back in his pocket and let himself be led out to the parking lot into Patton's car. The ride home was much like the ride there, in that Virgil's heart was racing the entire time. But this time, it was a good feeling, and he thought he might be able to get used to the warm feeling Patton seemed to radiate. Virgil almost didn't want to leave the car when Patton pulled into his driveway. He'd been holding Patton's hand the entire time, and it was the perfect size and shape to fit in his own. You've probably got stuff to do tomorrow, but if you wanted to come in for a bit, you're welcome to?" It came out as a question, which he hated, but Patton didn't seem to mind. "Really? That would be amazing," Patton told him, and before they knew it, they were laying on Virgil's couch, cups of water and a bowl of popcorn on the floor. As they got sleepier, Patton started to migrate closer to Virgil, and ended up laying practically on his chest. Virgil didn't mind, and when Patton glanced up at him with his bright eyes and sleepy smile, it was like there was some hidden force that caused him to lean down and meet Patton's lips in a gentle kiss. It was the first of many of the night. Sweet, innocent kisses between two people who had found something lovely in the other, and just couldn't get enough. Thank you all so much for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to make sure that you don't miss the rest of this series. If you like my writing and you want to hear more, you can check out the other videos on my channel, or my AO3 link in the description if you'd like to read them for yourself. See you next time!